OpenShift works with our current system and empowers my teams to rapidly deliver the experiences our customers demand, on time and on budget, with less complexity and more flexibility. With Red Hat OpenShift, we get more control over our applications. We can reduce costs and bridge the gap between operations and development. And Red Hat is the ideal partner because they provide flexibility now and in the future with a proven track record of open source leadership. Now, everyone thinks I'm a rock star because with Red Hat, we're able to unleash the power of Kubernetes using our existing infrastructure without the added complexity, overhead, and expense. Red Hat can do the same for you. Find out more.
Across every industry.
At my company, everyone is talking about modern cloud-native applications and how Kubernetes offers improved resource utilization for operations, faster development, and reduced cloud costs, which is great for me as a virtualization admin, and would make the finance and executive teams happy too. We all agree that moving away from monolithic applications to a microservices approach is the way to go. The problem is, I don't know the best way to get there. I can stick with the traditional virtualization approach that I'm familiar with, but it's not really designed for cloud-native applications. With the added complexity and cost, I'm not sure it's the best option. The vendor I'm currently working with says their latest solution is right for us, but we'd have to upgrade our existing systems, purchase additional components, as well as drag along a hypervisor wherever we decide to go, on-premises, hybrid, or public cloud. It would also require being locked into a proprietary solution that adds complexity, so it's not going to save us time or money. Not to mention that it's relatively new, meaning it's unproven for running production apps in enterprises such as ours. Ideally, we'd like to find a solution based on open source technologies that addresses our need to modernize applications and for cloud-native development that I can easily deploy in our current virtualized environment using the skills I already have, that offers flexibility down the road if I need it and enhances security from development through deployment. I didn't have far to go. Turns out the Red Hat portfolio, which includes Red Hat OpenShift, does all that and more. Red Hat OpenShift works with our current system and empowers my teams to rapidly deliver the experiences our customers demand, on time and on budget, with less complexity and more flexibility. With Red Hat OpenShift, we get more control over our applications. We can reduce costs and bridge the gap between operations and development. And Red Hat is the ideal partner because they provide flexibility now and in the future with a proven track record of open source leadership. Now, everyone thinks I'm a rock star because with Red Hat, we're able to unleash the power of Kubernetes using our existing infrastructure without the added complexity, overhead, and expense. Red Hat can do the same for you. Find out more.
Across every industry, companies are increasing investments in artificial intelligence and machine learning to better serve their customers, gain competitive advantage, increase revenue, and reduce cost. While AI/ML offers these promises, there are also significant challenges to execution. Data scientists need a self-service, cloud-like experience across the hybrid cloud with a rich set of ML modeling tools, data, and compute resources that allows them to rapidly build, Scale, reproduce, and share their ML modeling results in a consistent way across on-premises and public clouds. With containers and Kubernetes, data scientists get the agility, flexibility, and portability to train, test, and deploy ML models into production quickly. Red Hat OpenShift is the industry-leading Kubernetes-based container platform that provides a self-service, seamless experience for data scientists to accelerate machine learning workflows. OpenShift is powered by Kubernetes operators, enabling data scientists to easily deploy and use the ML tools that empower them to create and share ML modeling results in a consistent way with peers and software developers without dependency on IT to provision infrastructure. With GPU integration, Red Hat OpenShift helps accelerate compute-intensive ML modeling and inferencing tasks. Red Hat OpenShift streamlines the overall development of intelligent applications by extending its DevOps capabilities to the ML lifecycle, enabling easier collaboration across teams. Whether building self-driving and connected cars, performing fraud detection, saving lives, exploring oil and gas, or something else, organizations globally have operationalized Red Hat OpenShift for machine learning, helping them to overcome challenges and achieve their business goals. Red Hat also offers a broad portfolio of complementary technologies, providing key capabilities required for accelerating the machine learning lifecycle, from data ingestion and preparation to ML modeling, model deployment, and inferencing. With self-managed and cloud-hosted options available, Red Hat OpenShift extends the value of your ML investment, helps accelerate machine learning work.
So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So please, can you assemble inside? For those who are outside, so if it's audible, so please assemble back inside. So we are just about to start. So we are extremely sorry for the delay. Okay, so delay in starting up, so we are out of schedule now. So sorry for that. So we'll just make it up for that. So we'll be starting the session now. Okay. So myself, Abdul, so I'll be the host for this session. So I welcome you all once again for this event. So Tech Talk, a technical seminar on OpenShift. So jointly organized by Advantage Pro and Red Hat. Okay, so this is going to be a seminar where we are going to have an event where we are going to celebrate the professionalism with the sustained modern world, modern technical world. So I'm delighted to invite you for this event. So I welcome all the honorable members. Okay, so a little bit of background about myself. So myself, Abdul. So most of you might be knowing me, so in person or you are maybe in online attend, so you might be knowing me. So myself is Abdul. So I'll be the event host. So I'm an instructor at the Red Hat. Sorry, instructor at the Advantage Pro. So Advantage Pro has given me a privilege to work as a certified Red Hat instructor. Before I invite the orators, so I would like to introduce the proceeding of today's events. So this event we managed to think out of the box. So we will be giving importance for the audiences, so where you can quench your thirst of knowledge. So we are going to have diverse members, so from different product-based specialists, and as well as we are going to have industry-based experts from different verticals. So henceforth, we will be giving importance for the audiences, the participants. Okay, so we will be will not be exiting the webinar. Sorry, it's a seminar. Sorry, so seminar how without zero doubts. So first, we will have a welcome address from our managing director, Mr. P.K.G. Vishwanathan sir. So I invite Mr. Vishwanathan sir to. Yes. So. Yeah. Mr. Satish Kumar can come on, please. So Amal can come on stage. Satish Muniratnam, so yeah, you can come on stage. Yeah, already.
And sit down. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, we sincerely apologize for the delay, especially the early birds. We are waiting for the MD and India head of training business to come. He's going to handle a session here. Unfortunately, they just landed this morning from Bangalore and they were away on a call and they got delayed. So we're very sorry for that. That's not an excuse, but we sincerely regret the delay. But I'm glad that some people could register in by then. May I request people to put their cell phones on silent mode so that the sessions are not disturbed. It's okay during the welcome speech, when the technical speakers are speaking, I think we should honor that. I have great pleasure in welcoming you all for this tech talk on OpenShift conducted by Advantage Pro Vector Technosoft along with Red Hat. A special welcome to Mr. Ramesh Padmanabhan, who will be coming soon, Mr. Anil Mathai, Technical Delivery Manager India and South Asia for Red Hat, and Mr. Gio Joseph, who will also be coming soon, Retail Lead and TME Account Manager, Global Learning Services Red Hat. I have great pleasure in inviting the two industry specialists, Mr. Satish Babu and Mr. Satish Kumar Muniratnam, who have taken time off from their busy schedule to share industry-specific cases, and the participants who have registered in large numbers for this tech talk. You have heard about tech talks. I hope most of you heard about tech talks. They do it in colleges also now. That is, industry specialists will come and talk. It's a free listening series. Whenever you get the chance, you will try to get hold of tech talks. You can Google it and also take it forward. So we have industry professionals here. Almost all of them are alumni of Advantage Pro. So a special welcome to them. There are quite a few familiar faces. Vector Technosoft, in 1998, we have been in the training business and we have been among the top 3 partners for Red Hat ever since. We have only a single branch, but our outreach program goes much beyond, covers Tamil Nadu and Andhra. We have tied up with various colleges where we take physical classes and then online training is also happening. So Vector Technosoft has been at the forefront in conducting such programs with global relevance. Sometimes we conduct continuing education programs. However, in the last 2 years, we could not conduct such programs due to the pandemic. Red Hat has always been supporting us in these efforts, and we thank them profusely for the same. In addition, there will be an open house question and answer session to resolve your queries, if any. We hope that all of you benefit from some tech talks. Thank you. Welcome and enjoy the session. Yeah, good evening. Although I'm not in the sequence, I just intervened here. Mr. Ramesh and Gio Joseph will join. And Mr. Ramesh, welcome. And the people who are in, this is the hybrid mode. We are in online. There are close to 200 plus people are online. extremely sorry. Our sincere apology to online people. We didn't tell you all. Our sincere apology to you for being waiting patiently since 6 o'clock in the evening. And very nice. And anyway, I will go after the agenda. Now the initial presentation will be by Ramesh Padmanabhan. Then we'll have technical presentation followed by Amul Matai. And this is a presentation where we want to industry expert. We don't want only to on certification perspective or on learning perspective. We want to see what is the industry perspective. So I have two architects, again alumni of Advantage Pro, and from two different industry, from two diversified industry. One person is from banking and another person is specialist in infrastructure, and that is critical mission infrastructure industry. So we have both of them to share with you the knowledge and bring the case studies. And I request you please enjoy the presentation. We have question and session for both. Okay, we have question and session for online people. Abdul and my colleague Kabir will pick up the question and share with the panel. They will be asking the question to the panel specific and end of the session. And then definitely you can fill presence. So you also ask the question and answer one of the question when the industry is concerned. Okay, let's not take time much forward. I'll Abdul to come and start the session.
Thank you, everyone. I feel extremely privileged and great honor to introduce and welcome the chief guest on this standing beautiful evening, Mr. Ramesh. So just a little bit brief about Mr. Ramesh. He is a director in GS India and South Asia and has 27 plus years of experience and worked in companies including like MNTI, Aptech, IMHT, Wipro, HP, Quint, RPS Consulting. Started his career as a lecturer, moved as a faculty, senior trainer, tech head, center head, implementation specialist, POC specialist, delivery head. Then moved to the sales domain. During his past 17 years, he has passionately driven sales and worked in capacity of country manager, CEO, and currently the director of GLS India and South Asia at Red Hat. His primary focus is customer satisfaction. So his say never no attitude is main reason for his success. So he is among the motivation speakers addressing several occasions in industries, and one among them being our gathering now. So engagement level, first engagement level in the gathering is high. So he believes he is doing basics right and space smart work and driving excellence in all the activities does. Now I call upon our distinguished chief guest, Mr. Ramesh Padmanabhan, to address the gathering. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, all of you. Yeah, so I can see a lot of bright faces. It's a Friday evening, and it's very difficult. Maybe I'm from Bangalore, so obviously Bangalore means Friday evening is like a beer. But Chennai, I think it's a little difficult. We'll have to go and stand in the queue in some government place. So unless until you are in a star hotel, that's a different story. Yeah, so all of you are certified, at least one or two certifications you might have done from Pod Events. So you are all my ambassadors. I'm really very happy and very, very impressed. My partner, Advantage Pro, or it is also called as Vectra Technosoft. So in India, how many RHCA? So anybody knows what is RHCA? Not RHCSA. RHCA? Yeah, please. Oh, you are already an architect. Fantastic. So how do you rate yourself? So I will ask you a question, sir. I don't know if I have a goodie for questions, but I'll surely ask you a question. How do you generally have a habit of whenever I ask the answers, I give a goodie? So because generally I go to colleges presentations. So self in the industry, when you are an architect, that means your 7 papers cleared. Obviously, you will have a better identity within the company. Yeah, can you please elaborate a little? So, do we have a hand mic, please? Yeah, can you please pass on the mic there? Your good name, sir? Balaji.
Else, to show that if I we can get the trust from the management that the certification really gives the trust from the management that we can handle the platform. And the architect certification for me really helps me with my promotion and other things as well. So,
fantastic, fantastic, Balaji. Thank you so much. Kindly take a seat, sir. So, hello? Am I audible? Yeah, okay. So, being a doctor, being a professional doctor or a higher certificate is very critical. In the same lines, once you completed your RHCSA or RHCE, excuse me. So being a Red Hat certified is insufficient till the time you climb the ladder. So now what is the benefit of climbing the ladder? What are the different paths available? Yes, OpenShift is one of the paths. Ansible could be one of the paths, or there are administrative edges in the platform itself. A lot of paths available. So with those benefits, if you can, I'll give you some data point. Around 3.5-4 years back, if we asked how many architects in India, it was a double-digit number. Today, in the last 3.5 years or 4 years that I am working, I am always jumping and pushing. So can anybody attempt to tell me how many RHCAs in India today? Of course, one of them is Balaji. Anybody else architects in this group? Oh, fantastic. Your good name? Raja. Yeah, Raja, I want to also hear from you. One more is also there. I just want to hear from you. How is your status in the organization when you are an architect? Yeah, Raja is here.
To be fair, in our organization, I'm an architect. So they will, whatever the Unix issue, they will come to me. Even any platform, Red Hat virtualization or OpenStack, Ansible, anything, they will come. They will get resolve the solution with me and living that. So I feel happy with helping them.
So you are privileged. You are one of the privileged person inside your organization, right?
Yes.
Fantastic. So the other person, there is one more architect in the room. So your good name, sir?
Yeah, Ramesh.
Ramesh, I'm also Ramesh. Good,
after completing this architect, I got some recognition in the organization. I had to get so some other accounts, if any issues, they come to me to get some knowledge sharing, something like that. Yeah. So
fantastic. Yeah. Thank you so much, Ramesh. So this is what we can see the difference. And it's not difficult for you because you already completed 1, 2. Now 5 more to go. 5 more subjects to go. So the moment you become an architect, the value that you get. Okay, I asked a question. Can you tell me how many RHCAs in India as on date? How many RHCA, Red Hat certified architects? Can anybody guess? A wild guess? 3.5 years back, it was only double digit, maybe in the range of 70, 80. Sorry? You are very close. Any other answers? Okay. It is around 786. I'm very proud to say this because this 786 is a very good number. So it's around that, and these numbers will keep on changing because somebody's status will go off because they are not active, somebody will add and things like that. So within within Advantage Pro, we have taken a stance that by end of December we will have at least 10, right Abdul? It was 10 RFCA by end of December. Yeah, we have taken a stance, we have taken an oath that we will have 10 within the organization. So when we have 10 RFCAs within our organization, Advantage Pro, then obviously it is well that the students also get to there. Now, how to get to there? Which all courses? What are the standards available? Now, we Amal speaking after me. He will give you more details, and of course, even we have Abdul also speaking, or some of the speakers from our organization, like a partner like Advantage Pro. Having said that, my concept is, okay, which is the country in the world which is having highest number of architects? Any idea? Any guess? No, we are far behind. Not US. Yeah, unfortunately that is not US. Sorry? No. It's China. China is having the highest number. Okay, now the question is, how much? How many? Any idea? 50% of our, no, it's highest. More than India, but what is that number? Yeah, you will be surprised. It's a 5-digit number, close to 11,000 architects. 11,000. So I was feeling very much behind when I heard that it is 11,000, because I had the business for India, for GLS, for Global Learning Services. So it's very privileged for me to compete with them. Okay, you have to compete. Yes, of course. I always look at very high expectation. I have to match myself with somebody who is really in the top. So that's where we can catch up. So that's where I have identified few partners who can help me do this, because we cannot do it without the support of organizations like Vectra. It is impossible. That's where we are together, even for online folks. Hi, all of you. So we want to see more and more architects at the privilege of India. And self-privilege already my friends, Balaji, Ramesh and Raja has already described. You will surely have an edge. Within the organization, you will have a privilege. People approach you. People come to you telling you, okay, I have a problem, how to solve. So that gives you a lot of mileage. Mileage is also money. Of course, we need money. So it is not only so. If you invest technology, knowledge, time and money, then you will get it back. So with that communication, I just wanted to
end my small presentation, because I have eminent speakers from the industry as well. I want to welcome on behalf of Red Hat some of our certified resources who are working in some top organizations. Thanks again to organization Vectra to introduce them and bring them on board. I'm really happy. So with that, I wanted to end it here. Back to you, Abdul. Thank you very much.
So, on behalf of all, I thank Mr. Amish for his insightful. I hope that was completely informative and started for start base for everything. So, thank you, sir. So let me walk you through the next agenda. So let us have a quick tour of what we are going to see in the event. So we have 3 keynote speakers from different edges of the event. First, Mr. Amantai, Technical Manager at Red Hat Training. And then we have industry expert, Mr. Satish Babu, Solution Architect from a leading global bank. And we have our second industry expert, Mr. Satish Kumar Veerathan, Infrastructure Architect and Mission Critical Technologies. So all the speakers are going to have a brief delivery of their content, a brief interval of time. Once done, I'll be opening the floor for question and Q&A session with the most relevant and enterprise specific questions. So for that notes, as a motivation, we're going to have a technical quiz at the end of the show and showering in towards. Let me start the first introduction of the first speaker of this evening, Mr. Amal. So he's a very open source technologist, so commonly called as Manzai.
It was an open source grad which has facilitated him during his technical education, and 18 years of IT experience and still continues to facilitate him. By education, he is a computer science engineer. So he started his career as an open source technologist and teaching a passion for him. So for him, one of the best ways to continue to open source is sharing the technology. So for 18 years in industry, so he has been with Red Hat for more than 12 years as a consultant, instructor, and serving as a technical training and certifications, so India and South Asia. So he is a Red Hat certified engineer, instructor, examiner, and architect. And he's also having a world record, so world's first Ansible certified. So, Anand will be throwing lights on the following topics this today. So, a deeper insight into OpenShift, building agile, portable, secure cloud-native applications using OpenShift, career perspectives in OpenShift. Okay, so with all due respects, I hand over the session to Mr. Ramananda. So, I welcome you, sir, for this. Yeah.
Work out. Make up the
That's all.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gents. I apologize for the delayed start. Been repeated multiple times, but on behalf of Red Hat, I would like to thank you. We have a couple more speakers coming up to me, so I will try to keep it as short and simple as possible. I have set myself a timer here so that I can keep myself on track. Online audience, please bear with me. I have a habit of moving around. I was just about to start off. I thought a fixed mic would have helped, but because Reddit has arranged a cordless mic, I still have the flexibility to go around. In the intro, I think my profile mentioned that I'm a Red Hat certified architect. Which mic? Maybe different mic is that? Okay, cool. Okay. So, the 786 folks in India, I'm not part of it. Very disappointed about it. My profile read that I'm a Red Hat certified architect. I'm not. Well, in a way, pandemic has helped me because I'm not sure if you're aware, Red Hat has extended the expiry of the certificate over the pandemic. But then, under pandemic, I was an architect, and now I'm not. So I'll apologize for that. I'll correct my profile so that people don't call me an architect anymore. It was really a pleasure because I was one of the first 5 in India architects. As Balaji or Maharaja or Ramesh were explaining, that gives you a very different feel in terms of quite an achievement. Right? In my case, RNCE was just one single exam when I was during those days. I'm a bit old when I look. So 5 more certifications on top of that. It gives you a very different feeling. Let me tell you that. When I was an architect, Red Hat didn't have any of those acquisitions. I think the only prominent acquisition which was done by Red Hat during my time then was JBoss. Or anybody working on JBoss? Any of the middleware suites here? JBoss? No JBoss folks. And then I was an architect in the platform side. I'm not sure if you still have those. If you know what made the architecture modules back then, you didn't have many options back then. Performance tuning, troubleshooting, SE Linux, advanced security, satellite, and high availability clustering. These were the modules. But today, if you look at the growth of Red Hat as a technology, it should have started off with a very small acquisition like JBoss and a few more acquisitions. I'm not sure how many of you have counted how many acquisitions Red Hat would have made until now. I don't know the count. I don't keep track of every acquisition, but it should be close to around 20 to 22 acquisitions. We don't know about it, right? We don't keep track of so many acquisitions. I'll be talking about one of the latest and the major ones when I get to my slide deck. Ansible has been a prominent acquisition, by the way. Not sure if you use a product called Red Hat Virtualization. You guys use it? This also came as a part of an acquisition of an Israeli company called Kubernetes, which was a virtualization expert back then. So, when people are describing about the architect certification, when Ramesh was talking about the count, I never thought China. That's. I'm sure they've got a lot of population, but I just don't want to be in the state where China has got more architects than India. Balaji was the first one. Make a guess, and which is the highest population of Red Hat certified architects, and he said India. I mean, we all take ourselves for granted, right? Because we think that we are technically very able, we are technically very strong. But yeah, China gave us a surprise to me. Yeah, we should beat them, just like the military. We have also enough population. Yeah. We are not bad on that front. Yeah, I've got a lot of good friends in China, so I don't want this to be recorded and same. So what I'm coming to is that today you have a varied set of technologies available from Red Hat. Maybe I don't have an application, a middleware application integration crowd here, but otherwise, if you look at that portfolio alone, the application integration platform, right? We have the process automation manager, we have the decision manager, we have Red Hat Fuse. So we have so many enterprise application platforms, the EAP server, the JBoss web server. So many stuff on that side as well. Now, I will not just limit myself to or try to talk only about one portfolio for a long time. But when you look at the technology solutions available for the enterprises today, from just a plain operating system solution which was offered, which was also world class in terms of providing an enterprise solution. Today, if you look at, we stand at having an enterprise offering for managing your container native virtualization. Anybody who manages virtual machines or virtualization in the container native world, show of hands, please. No. Yeah, that's where we stand at. So things are changing rapidly, and just like that, we have a lot of products being made available to the market. And of course, when we need skills of those technologies in the market, we definitely need to be, in a sense, Red Hat training and certification. We'll have to cope up and catch up. We will have to offer a lot of certification because skilling is very, very critical for any company you look at. Now, as Ramesh was mentioning, addressing the crowd, this is a niche crowd. This is totally a very different crowd for us, in the sense that you guys already work. Guys already work for the team. So the thing is that people like me or Ramesh may not have to spend a lot of time making you understand and realize what is the significance of getting. A certification is a byproduct, I would say, or an after product. But knowing to handle a technology is very key to your success in the organization. I'm sure it's not just Maharaja, Balaji, or Ramesh, but I know so many people in the crowd can vouch for it. Whether you're certified or not, certification gives you a different edge, but that's the next part of the story which I would be telling you. But better than you and me who work in the technology space, nobody understands what's the significance of having skills. Gone are those days when every problem of your technology will get resolved by copy pasting a few scripts. Right? So I was doing an interesting read while I was lying down from Kochi. There was something written about how many of you do shell scripting, by the way? No offense, but I think very oldies like me still love shell scripting. Nobody raises their hand. When I talk about shell scripting. Shell scripting used to be a savior for you. I come from a period where the plain spreadsheets were used to manage the data center host names, and it used to run to 20K lines. And convert that into a CSV and write a shell script, and do a remote SSH login to each of those blocks, one after the other, data center to data center. So I had a data center in Buffalo, which is the northeast of the States. There was a central US one and on the west coast. So 3 different data centers in the US, and then I also had the Europe data center, the Asia Pacific. So imagine the number of machines you've handled. And if you wanted to push that was the time, I think, not Heartbleed. Before Heartbleed, there was one another vulnerability there, and I don't remember that name. So can you imagine life of an operations guy? Source of information is a spreadsheet. Writing a shell script, converting that into a CSV and writing a shell script, extracting using a simple cut and set and all those commands to extract just the host names and then do an SSH remotely and then patch the system, take it offline, reboot it, bring it back online into the load balancer, and then go to the next set of machines. And it used to take weeks and weeks. And I'm very proud to have fallen in love with the technology called ANSYS. The talk is not about ANSYS. It has introduced me as the first certified project. I just fell in love with that tool. I mean, 12 years ago, the stuff which I had done from this spreadsheet, ANSYS just does it like that. Just write a simple plain playbook, which is not even cryptic as a shell script. It's just simple 3 English statements. You make a task, you write a playbook, you make a play, you put that in a playbook and give it to Ansible Tower, and the job is done. If things fail, I'm thinking of artificial intelligence, Ansible, which extends its arm from the computer and then tap you, saying that 10% of the hosts are offline. Now tell me what to do. Things have gone to that stage. Our life has become so easy, but this easy part of our life is coming with more and more tools and technologies being added to our life. How many of you practice DevOps here? Good set of crowd. Have a very mature crowd. Do you love DevOps? Yeah. Let me rephrase my question. People are so reluctant to say openly in public that I love DevOps. Because if your managers hear it, you've gone. If your managers hear you say, no, I don't love DevOps. I would go back 3 years ago and then, I would like my life as an IT operations guy, plain simple IT operations guy without wearing a DevOps jacket, or a plain regular developer without wearing a DevOps jacket. So I still get that feeling. Unfortunately, I try to evangelize a bit about DevOps as well. How many of you belong to, so the rephrasing of the question is this, how many of you belong to the IT operations kind of world? Okay, close to 50%. App developers, just one hand I see there. If it is Bangalore, I would have actually given you here. No app developers. That's strange. How about the folks who have not raised their hands? What kind of work do you do? Testers? Oh, how many belong to testing? Somebody can you give me a clue? What is that you do? Anybody in the crowd? I'm just trying to make it as interactive as possible. Okay, I mean, when I say IT operations, I'm not talking about like, you're having a 3-year jacket and then sitting inside a cold data center and then pulling plugs off and then taking. Somebody's hackingly session. Right. I'm not talking about that. It could also be your virtual instances management in your OpenStack cloud or your VMware cloud. It could also be the container management or an OpenShift platform management. So that's the IT operations I'm talking about. More IT operations folks I can, after I have described, no. People are a bit confused here. That's okay. It's good to be confused. Only then you feel that there is something else lying on the other side. That what's going to lead you. So my point is that when you are doing DevOps, or if you are going the way of DevOps, the cloud native applications are very, very critical. It makes your life easier. I'm not here to state that you cannot do DevOps with your monolithic, conventional legacy applications. You still can. But let me tell you, your life can be much, much easier if you have your applications in a container native architecture with the microservices and all that stuff. In short, what do we call it? With clouds, we call it MSA, the microservices architecture. Now, one of the things which you need to understand is that, so flying high with oh, by the way, gentlemen, I have a, Ramesh and Gio knows, I have a very bad habit. If I get a 35 minutes presentation slot, almost 20 minutes, it's on the title slide. I never move the slide. Gio was smiling at me. Just
want to propel your innovation cycle, improve customer experience, and gain competitive. Then you need agility with the way you build, deploy, manage. Want to propel your innovation cycle, improve customer experience, and gain competitive. Then you need agility with the way you build, deploy, manage, and scale software applications anywhere. To overcome the challenges of transforming legacy apps and develop new cloud-native apps, you need a Kubernetes-powered hybrid cloud application platform that can provide software developers, data scientists, and data engineers with self-service, secure access to their favorite development tools, frameworks, and data, and can handle any application in a consistent way across any location. Red Hat OpenShift is the Kubernetes-powered hybrid cloud application platform with capabilities to enable DevOps, giving you everything you need to quickly and securely build, deploy, manage, and scale any traditional or cloud-native application in a consistent way across any environment. Imagine being able to automatically deploy and update a database of your choice with the same ease as installing a smartphone application, or any of the app dev, AI, data analytics tooling, and more. OpenShift's deep integrations with our ecosystem partners and open source community projects using Kubernetes operators allows you to automate and simplify deployment, scaling, and lifecycle management of any workload in a consistent way across any cloud directly from within OpenShift, giving your teams more time and freedom to innovate faster. Red Hat Marketplace takes this one step further by helping simplify procurement and deployment on OpenShift anywhere. Red Hat Open Innovation Lab helps transform legacy apps to applications on OpenShift. Around the world, OpenShift is providing agility and empowering organizations to develop and run all kinds of applications. It's allowing manufacturers to be more productive. It's helping businesses to improve customer experiences. It's even enabling rapid detection of life-threatening conditions to save lives. Red Hat OpenShift is leading the way to a simpler, more consistent, Kubernetes-powered hybrid cloud application platform, helping accelerate build, deploy, manage, and scale any application in a consistent way across hybrid clouds. The end result is faster innovation, improving customer experience, and gaining competitive edge. Learn more. Contact us today.
So, rather than me trying to speak a lot of words about what OpenShift is about, I think this video was a concise way in which we explain you what OpenShift is. Now, OpenShift is our flagship at this point. More than 6 years now. What is that we achieve? We achieve to manage and deploy and scale cloud-native applications or even legacy applications in a hybrid cloud architecture. Now we know that we have thrived. How many of you are with any internet services company? One. Okay. So even if you are not with internet services company, generally, if you look at the last 2.5 years of our life as IT people, I think I think we would be the only group of people who would have made the most out of the pandemic. But if you look at my workload has never gone down because of the pandemic. Everybody have been shifting to an idea of digitally transforming themselves. Be it this very true with Red Hat customers, and that's our experience as well. We talk about banks, we talk about the internet services company, we talk about logistics. All these people, imagine the number of Zoom licenses which they would have sold in the last 2.5 years. Imagine the kind of bandwidth you would have consumed from your local internet service provider. It's all been thriving. Imagine the number of movies Netflix would have actually shown to people. So why Netflix? Count the number of movies you yourself would have watched in the last 2 years, 2.5 years. Binge watching. Friday evening, 3 movies back to back. You never know it's Saturday morning. See, imagine the kind of business model, or imagine the kind of, sorry, not business model, wrong word. Imagine the kind of platform architecting which Amazon Prime or Netflix would have done just because, or Zoom or Google Meet for that matter. So whenever we talk about an application at high scale, that is where we need to have an application platform. And that video has just very basically explained to you in very layman terms what is the benefit of having something like OpenShift. So slowly I'm moving off from my generic conversation into OpenShift because I've been asked to speak only about OpenShift today. Now that thing which I missed, that interesting part which I was reading yesterday about Ansible in flight was this. There was a comparison between using shell scripts to automate your data center versus using something like Ansible. It's fragile to agile. That was the statement which was made by the author. And it was very fragile. I mean, you know how fragile and how immature it is to use a shell script based on a CSV file where you have the host name. But some of them FQDN, some of them short host name, some of them IP addresses. And that's how bad a CSV file without a config database management, config data management. And from there, we have to move it a long way. And then we are talking about cloud-native applications, which can be scaled up and scaled down. How many of anyone working for an e-commerce platform like Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra? Anyone? No? Oh, yeah. So, imagine the world where you have a sudden spike of traffic to your data center or your application. I'll give you a good example of Flipkart announcing an Independence Day sale. Imagine the kind of hits which is actually made by that application. And if you didn't have, and imagine an IT operations guy who was working in that company which did not have a flexible, scalable platform for them. Life would be a nightmare. At least 60 days before the Independence Day, you will lose your independence. You will get your independence only after 2 or 3 days because there would definitely be root cause analysis because eggs will break invariably on independence. This has been our life as IT operations guys. Kind of calls you get from your customers when things break, it's nasty. So you would have thought, I wish my life had a solution where it can intelligently extend the application out, not just to my private cloud, because my CFO would not approve for additional servers to be procured for my private cloud. Intelligently extends my application not just within my OpenStack cloud, but also move it to a public cloud. Pay as you go. Automatically flow it out to, extend it out to Amazon Web Services, and then after the Independence Day sale is over, bring it back to our ecosystem. If we could have only imagined about these maybe 10 years ago, but today it's a reality. That's where OpenShift is valued by our customers. Now, I will not get into much of the details on the slide here because you guys can read it, but I would like to make some key points about what are the 3 pillars of OpenShift. This is something which we see internally also of Red Hat. What are the 3 pillars of OpenShift? And we are very proud of something like OpenShift. No doubt about it. We are a major contributor to Kubernetes, which is actually the upstream orchestration tool. And thanks to Google, by the way. So, it's built on open source, it's hardened specifically, and I'm very proud to say that we have more than 2,000 customers. Yeah. It's built for hybrid cloud, as you have seen in the video. Right? We really do not want to restrict ourselves to use, let's say, an on-prem deployment. We want you to make use of any cloud implementation which you have. And hybrid cloud, it's the norm today. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've been prompted to keep the microphone close to my. Yeah. Now this is something which I was actually hinting to. Specialize in DevOps. Now one of the things is automated deployments. CI/CD. Well, that's like a mantra for all of us now. No matter whether you do it or not, your manager would insist that you should know what CI is and try to implement it. Now, CI, of course, the continuous integration part, CD can take the next level if your manager says that, no, I'm not talking about continuous delivery, I'm talking about continuous deployment here. Can you imagine? Somebody does a git commit, in next 2 minutes, that code change is out there in the production and users are experiencing. You're a very unresponsive crowd. Now, when I made that statement, I had a shiver from my feet through my legs to my tummy. Can you imagine a situation where you do a git commit, 2 minutes, the change is enjoyed by your customers in production? Still, you're unresponsive. Why don't you show any kind of expression? For me, that's like nirvana. If I have my git commit done, and in 2 minutes, users are experiencing that. I'm talking about users. I'm talking about continuous deployment. Any change in your container image, in next 2 minutes, it passes through the entire pipeline. And on the extreme right, it's not the staging environment, and you manually promote that from the staging to production. I'm talking about it goes to production right away. My thing here, I will get to that when I go to that slide. How many of you use OpenShift in production at this point? That's a decent crowd. Yeah. So, how many of you have used OpenShift in any POC or a demo or a test environment? Okay, good. So, you can take your OpenShift expertise to the next level, and you can take your OpenShift experience to the next level, based on some other skills and components which you will need to know to take it there. That's what my intention is when I'm speaking to you guys here. Since there are no developers except for one person who has raised his hand, I would say that OpenShift is one such thing where we Red Hatters can easily convince both the IT operations folks and also the developers equally. Not many of the things are really convincing for the developers because they belong to a different breed, right? I mean, they think different. At least when you compare it with IT operations folks, there is a very clear contrast between the developers and the IT operations guys. That's why when I asked the crowd, do you love DevOps? There is a sarcasm mixed smile on your faces. That clearly shows that we still are not able to think that developers and IT operations guys can sit together. But it has to change. There's no way out. Yeah, we are living in a world of agile, Scrum, whatnot. So let's try to. If not today, tomorrow it will happen in our organization. Because when your CFO is reporting the numbers of performance on a quarterly basis to CEO would ask, how much time did you take to have this application or service made available to the customer? And how many days ahead of the competition we could have gone to the market first? You guys, literally every day in your developers also need to be satisfied. They have to keep their innovation going. I normally use this statement, right? But I would like to tell this once again. Do you know why software developers do not like IT operations guys? I normally say this. Maybe if you have heard me in the last season, you would have heard me saying the same thing. But I like to repeat it. Do you know why software developers do not like IT operations folks? Just because IT operations folks show off a lot. Reverse is also the same. Yeah. I have been an IT operations guy for most part of my career. I've got a lot of statements and comments about my software development, but that's not good for a forum like this. I can't speak about it openly using a microphone. Now, do you know why IT operations guys throw off? Just because of one reason. That reason is IT operations folks have got root faster to production. That is the only reason. That is the only reason. Imagine the moment when developers got root access to the production system, you're gone. You're like mere mortals. Yeah, I mean that wouldn't happen. We are living in a compliant world. There are a lot of compliance to be followed and stuff like that. So that's why I say that developers have got a lot of features. They have their IDEs. They can act. They don't have to. They are not forced to use a specific IDE. They have got a lot of plugins available in OpenShift, and they can use their own plugins. They can use their own IDE, into OpenShift. So it's a very developer-friendly environment. Now, in how many forms or how many variants we have OpenShift being offered to our customers. We have the Red Hat OpenShift Kubernetes engine. Well, it all starts from the idea that, what is this called? A hybrid platform where your applications can reside on physical machines, on virtual machines, on private cloud, on public cloud, or on the edge. So this applies to any use case. It applies to logistics. It applies to telco. It applies to many of our customers. It applies to it applies to the mining industry. It applies to the weather forecasting, where they have their IoT sensors out there in the field and then collecting the data and then analyzing and then making a pattern. The AI ML use case, which runs on OpenShift. So we are taking care of the entire set of possible, as on today, all possible way of having an application deployed. And that it works based on a simple Red Hat Core OS container runtime. So we definitely have Red Hat Enterprise Linux, which is playing a very crucial and critical role there. Definitely we have the Kubernetes. Kubernetes is OpenShift. Kubernetes plus something else is OpenShift. But mainly OpenShift is Kubernetes. Because you need to have a container orchestration platform. Because you're not talking about running 2 containers or 3 containers. You're talking about running thousands of containers in a highly available, scalable, replicated mode. And we have a bunch of Kubernetes cluster services, which actually is the Kubernetes engine. Now, the light doesn't stop there. The application has to still go to the production, to the cloud, to the edge in a much more easier and flexible way. So we have the workload management, we have the CI/CD pipelines, which is integrated. Jenkins, familiar? Yeah. Tecton, familiar? All right. So we have CI/CD pipeline tools like Jenkins and Tecton bundled into it. The log management, the metrics collection, the dashboard, they are all very critical, right? I mean, you are managing a multi-application, multi-node cluster. Visibility is the key. You cannot always keep a watch on, or in typical layman terms, you cannot run a tail-F on multiple log files on your screen. Your screen is not so big. You need to have a dashboard. You need to have a click of a button, getting the log information, getting the alert information, all that stuff. Building the cloud native application, that's also one of the key things which we are actually focusing on, so that our application vendors or our customers who are building their own applications are able to build it in a very smooth way. The services, the data analytics, the AI ML use cases, and also the developer productivity. I will not focus much in detail about this, but put that together, it actually gives you the OpenShift Container Platform, OCP. Now, I understand that few of you are already done 280, DO 280, but it wouldn't have covered many of these aspects. You would have just still worked on, maybe upgrading a cluster or troubleshooting a cluster, reading the log files from a cluster, etc. Now, Red Hat OpenShift Platform Plus, now that's the next step to it. We have a product called ACM, Advanced Cluster Management for Kubernetes, Advanced Cluster Security for Kubernetes. I'm not sure if you have heard of the Kubernetes native container security management tool. This came from a company called StackRox. And StackRox was acquired by Red Hat. And hence came Advanced Cluster Security, ACS. We call it the Red Hat ACS. And Red Hat Quay. Anyone heard of Quay? Quay is actually a registry service. Your container images are there in a registry. I mean, you can actually host a shared container registry service, which comes in the form of Red Hat Quay and can be used by multiple Red Hat OpenShift clusters of yours. Yeah. So this, if you look at this, right? I mean, this is a total picture. This is a big picture, and a total picture at least as of today. You may still have a lot of advancements coming on this landscape also. But if you look at it, at this entire thing today, this is the best that you can get. To have your cloud native application pushed to production, I'm talking about CI and CD, and I'm confident that you could actually go until the continuous deployment here. Let me get into the upskilling part of it. Okay, I will not leave that slide. I will still come back and keep visiting this slide because you need to know where do you fill in or where do you fit in this landscape at this point with your current skills. You're very familiar with this course, right? Because when Ramesh was checking with the crowd, many of you have raised your hand saying that, oh yeah, I have gone through the OpenShift program. That's the level 1 program. I'll not spend a lot of time in here because I understand that most of the crowd have done it, but for the uninitiated, for the ones who have not yet experienced this training program, this is the level 1 training program in OpenShift admin. We call it Red Hat OpenShift 1. It introduces you to the idea of container and Kubernetes. Trust me, this will not take you much into OpenShift. It will expose you to the idea of containers. Why the heck containers? And what's Kubernetes all about? And just a slight introduction to OpenShift, but it stops there. It's a 3-day program. I will not go in detail here, but I thought I'll just make the statement for anybody in the room who has not taken a DO 180 program and you want to step into the OpenShift administration field. This can be a good starting point. And of course, this is associated with the certification exam as well, which is EX 180, which is currently offered in OpenShift version 4.10 and the duration is. Now, once you're done with the level 1 skilling on OpenShift administration, you have the DO 280. Now, I understand from the crowd check which Ramesh has done earlier, I understand that many of you, just for my understanding, how many of you have done the DO 280? Okay, a significant part of the crowd. Thank you. So, you know what exactly happens in DO 280. Otherwise, if this slide is shared by Advantage Pro to you, you can go through this. But otherwise, in brief, if I talk about DO 280, this is mostly about the day 2 operations which you have as a cluster administrator. Again, I'm not talking about multi-cluster environment here. This is one single cluster. But you want to understand a bit of troubleshooting. You want to understand how to upgrade the cluster. You want to understand maybe having a role-based access, being managed, etc. This is the place where you get skilled on that. This is very essential if you are actually managing an OpenShift cluster. If you are a developer, from the previous program, you could get into or progress into an application development track rather than the OpenShift administration track. But this forms a very solid background in terms of what the product OpenShift is all about. Let me remind you again, OpenShift is not that easy that you finish. This is a 3-day program again, and OpenShift is not that easy that you finish everything in day 2 operations in 3 days. Or in other words, 24 hours. We have got a lot of aspects like deployment of OpenShift. And you definitely know, coming from a technical background, OpenShift can be deployed in different ways. You can deploy it on-prem, you can deploy it on your cloud. Well, OpenShift comes as a managed service directly from Red Hat, which is deployed on Azure and AWS and GCP. However, if you choose, instead of the bare metal machines, you could use the virtual instances on your public cloud and deploy OpenShift there. So that's altogether a different story where you are deploying OpenShift. And we have a different course. We have a different training program which can talk to you about what are the different cases and what are the different ways in which you can actually deploy your OpenShift cluster. Well, I haven't included that in my slides, but we do have a program called DO322. It's called OpenShift Installation Labs, which is a 2-day program which talks about the UPI, the IPI-based installation. But that's about DO280, which can equip you with the day 2 operational skills. And we have an examination associated with that as well, which is EX280, which is on OCP 4.10, and the duration is 3 hours. Now, what I'm trying to show you here is, so where does that skill fall into in the bigger landscape? This is where the DO 180 and 280 skills are focused on, not beyond. Now, at this OpenShift Kubernetes engine level, this is the skill which we gain if you are skilled enough to have the DO 180 and 280 level content, which is firmly within your grip, and you can handle the OpenShift cluster day 2 operation. Let me move on. There are a lot of things which happens again in that single cluster. Sorry. So I was talking about DO 280 is actually used to manage the day 2 operations of the OCP itself, but there are so many things which you may still have to figure out beyond DO 280. One good example I can give you. Operators. We live in a world of operators, right? Because many of the components or many of the apps which come, many of the functionalities which come in the OpenShift world comes as operators. And your life is very easy with operators, but you should know how to manage operators. So that is one key aspect which you find. Let's say you're not happy with the HT password kind of authentication which is done to your OpenShift cluster. Instead, your organization uses, let's say, LDAP, IDM, Identity Management Service. And how do you integrate your OpenShift cluster to those authentication services? How do you make sense, read the logs, make sense of the metrics? Maybe you dashboard it, but you want to know how exactly can you do it. How do you access? Let's say you want to integrate your OpenShift cluster with an iSCSI storage. There are many things in your way forward in managing that one single cluster of OpenShift itself, and that is what we address in OpenShift Administration 3, Daily Kubernetes Deployments in Enterprise. And this is a level 3 program, by the way. I mean, this is how you identify the expertise levels of Red Hat programs. DO stands for DevOps, and the first number in that 3-digit code, that first number talks about the expertise. DO 180 is a level 1 program. DO 280 is a level 2. Yeah, and that applies to any Red Hat courses which you take, not just for the DO courses. It applies for the CL, the cloud courses, RH, the Red Hat platform courses, AD, the app dev course. Yeah, so this is can take you. Well, the story has not ended yet. We have a level 4 program. And again, this is day 2 operations, right? And I haven't even explored into the app development area of what you get those features. And you wouldn't have realized, I just gone through DO 180, DO 280, DO 380, now I'm on DO 480. So, if you remember that video, we were talking about a hybrid cloud application, a microservices based architecture application which is deployed across multiple environments. The private, the public, the on-prem, the virtual. You can also have your application workloads, different application workloads deployed on different OpenShift clusters itself. You could have your app 1, which is for a banking sector, which is actually running in a private data center, which is managed using an OpenShift cluster. You could also have another OpenShift cluster where there's a different set of applications running on a public cloud. Now, what if you have multiple OpenShift clusters? How do you manage it together? Now, that's where the ACM comes into picture, the Advanced Cluster Management. You can manage multiple clusters in the same dashboard, and your life becomes very, very easy in that case. Now, that's not where it stops, right? Now, DO480 program also handles something like ACS, the Advanced Container Security, which I briefly mentioned about a company called StackRox. What is that we are talking about here? Security, plugging the security hole should not be an afterthought. It's never a good time to find the vulnerability of your application just before it reaches the production. The security thinking has to be, have you heard of a term called shift left? In the entire pipeline, on the left hand side is where you build and plan and that's where you then later integrate it and then put it in stage and then you push it to production. On the right hand side is the production. On the left hand side is the early stages of your development. Right into the thinking when you're building an application, rather than after the application is built, you think about fixing the security issue. So ACM, the Advanced Cluster, the ACS, the Container Security, it's a Kubernetes native service which can help you scan your images in the registry, which can help you scan the containers which are already deployed, which are part of the workload, which can go and find out and give you on a dashboard, like how is there a CVE for that? The CVE notifications which you get, the vulnerability notifications which you get, it can notify it or it can automatically fix it. So that's about ACS. And you know what? We can actually deploy Red Hat Quay in an OpenShift setup so that the registry service can be shared by multiple clusters. Now here we are talking about a pure multi-cluster environment. It's not one single cluster anymore. We call it the hub cluster. In the hub cluster, we have the OpenShift services like Quay available, which is shared across multiple other clusters. Now, ACM, ACS, and Quay put together is being discussed in that course, and we also have a certification exam along with that. Right? It's EX 480. That's the course code. Specialist in multi-cluster management. This goes along with the product which is called Red Hat OpenShift Platform Plus. See where DO480 skills is right here. We started our journey from here to here to here. We have not explored one full area here, but just for your information, I'm not sure if you have heard of this program called DO288. This is OpenShift Developer, building Kubernetes application. Trust me, this is not a high-end developer job. This is also heard of a concept called S2I, source to image? Because your application team may actually release application in the form of a container image. Or if you want to make their lives a little more easier, you have a feature available within Red Hat that within OpenShift that you make any changes to the source, it can actually go scan it and then build a new container image based on that change. So we talk about the S2I concepts, we talk about how to design the applications, we talk about multiple, we talk about Helm charts. Helm charts, OpenShift templates, play with those words. Helm chart is a way the application is packaged, which is like a resource group definition. So we talk about all those aspects in this course, and this course also has got an examination. And do you know where DO280 and EX288 skill is there? I've put it on the same level, but on this side. If you remember, DO280 was on this side. I put it on this side because, where we have more of operators and Helm charts being described on the top. Now, just one more optional thing which I'm not sure if you use this in your workload, in your day-to-day, in your environment. You know that there is something called container native virtualization as a technology available. You can manage your virtual machines along with your containers, alongside your containers under one dashboard, using one single application. And I'm talking about a Windows virtual machine. which can make use of an operator from Kubernetes, from Red Hat OpenShift, just the virtualization operator, and it can run as a virtual machine itself, not a container. I mean, internally it could be a containerized application, but for you it's just a plain virtual machine, a Windows virtual machine. Yeah, so we do have a course. I mean, I thought, since you're a technical crowd in Chennai, I thought I'll just speak 2 minutes about this course also being available. It's worth exploring this product. I mean, whether you get trained or not is a different thing, but at least know that there is something called container. It's a Kubernetes native virtualization management, which makes something like Red Hat virtualization or something like VMware very irrelevant. So you do not need a virtualization manager separately. Your OpenShift dashboard can manage your virtual machines as well. It's worth reading about it. Yeah, I also haven't explored much about it. I've attended a few demonstrations and stuff like that, but it's really interesting to see that the virtualization layer is also getting abstracted and you're managing it along with the containers. You never thought that this would happen. And with that, I would like to say a thank you to you. Please go to the previous slide. Oh, there's a question here. I'm just going through the previous slide. And I'm happy to share this slide with Vectra so that Vectra can send it across to you if you want some additional. So I think I ate away a little bit of time into the other speakers. I'm sorry for that. I was hungry. I thought I'll make you all also hungry. Why I suffer alone. So thank you so much, ladies and gents. You've been a good audience.
So I sincerely thank Simon for delivering such a presentation. We're going to have a Thank you very much. So before we will start this, let us introduce the next industry expert, Mr. Satish Babu. Let me have a brief run through his profile. So he's a versatile cloud architect with expertise in public and private cloud, with keen interest on new technologies. He had worked on a wide range of technologies in variety of. By education, he is an electronics and communication engineer with MTech in sports technology, with 15 years of expertise in industry. So he has been with the telecom range for nearly 5 years. Worked with R&D team. Currently working as a solution architect with the global bank in a transformation project. He has certified into several Hat products, including OpenShift, Stack, Platforms, and so he'll be shedding lights on OpenShift implementation and banking sector. It will be a case study based. So I call upon Mr. Satish Babu to take up.
Thank you, Abdul. Good evening, everyone. Am I audible there? I will not be taking much time. Do you want a clicker? So let me talk about the requirements of modern banking. So whenever we talk about the banking or any business, we talk about the shorter time to market. In the banking, another shorter time is shorter time in onboarding the customers. So the banking sector, they require very shorter time to onboard the customers. It is very crucial when they are very competitive in the market. So also it has been a requirement like we need improved portability across multi-cloud environments. Wherein we'll be having certain workloads in our private cloud and certain workloads in the public cloud, and there is scaling demand. We need to migrate certain applications from environment to the public cloud environment. And the platform should support this feature, and we don't need to customize the application while migrating it to the public cloud environment. So that is another requirement, and there should not be much downtime. These are mission critical applications it will be running, and we deal with financial transactions, so it should not be having any downtime. It should be highly resilient. And there is another thing in the market called it's an open banking system driven based on APIs, and our UPI payment is a kind of which system which relates to the open banking system. So UPI is developed in India by NPCA, and this open banking system terminologies are defined by the European banking governance. And another point is like as Mate and people are talking about the introduction to the microservices application. So I have a case study of before going to that, what are OpenShift features which supports, or it has already discussed earlier. So it is self-service portal. So even every developers team or application, they can go by themselves and deploy their applications. It's highly secure since it is security is being embedded in the code itself while they deploying. So it's a highly secure environment, and compared to other open container provision services, also the pre-packaged solution deploying the OpenShift is an easier way to do the deployment, and it supports it open source and a lot of other features. It allows the integration of multiple services and multiple open source applications into the OpenShift environment. And one of the major plus point we feel with the OpenShift is that it is an enterprise grade application with the enterprise level of support. It's a major one which occurs when you go with the enterprise customer. So let me talk about a case study which is Emirates NBD. Emirates NBD refers to the, it's a leading bank in UAE. So they wanted to adopt a completely digital banking with the reference, if I can say, like got like 811 account, which is a complete digital account in India. So similar to that, they wanted to have a complete digital bank to be introduced in UAE, and they want to be a number one. So they face certain challenges like so they developed an application called Live. So this will be the digital platform. So when they go with this platform, they do not have this environment to adopt the scale at which this application will be deployed. So you consider like if you go and open a bank account, it will take certain time, and the scale at which it grows, it will be at a very steady or slow rate. When you go into digital banking model, a lot of people can access this banking system with their devices and smartphones. So the scale at which it was growing was enormous, and they cannot support it with the current system. And this cannot be served with the traditional environment. They initially started with the traditional and providing these applications on a virtual cloud environment. So they cannot add multiple servers. So people in the IT environment or IT operation, they know how to how much time it will take to add servers and physical resources in terms of getting inside the business model and to production grade. To get into the production grade, we need to clear a lot of security implementation. This has one of the criteria they were facing issues. Jesh Patel, the state of division of live department, so which is banking for that particular application, he mentioned like they face very limited application. They face very downtime in increasing the capacity for this application, which is required by this banking application. So the solution which is provided for this customer is like we introduced them to Red Hat OpenShift platform. So with Red Hat OpenShift platform, they can deploy an application, and actually they developed a private cloud hosting environment based on Red Hat OpenShift. it gave the platform as a service model for this particular lake banking. And with this, they are able to develop this complete microservice application based on banking solution. So with this, they developed and they deployed this application in the shortest span of time, and the scaling factor was highly serviced by this model. So they even took this as a platform as a service model for provider, and the provider is completely using this live requirement for digital banking of this NBD. There are multiple banks in UAE. They started using this Saga platform for hosting their banking solutions. So it is a private cloud provider in UAE domain. So it's like visual instead of CEO, you mentioned like OpenShift was the best cloud platform which integrates the open source and DevOps tools which can be integrated together and host the solution. So they simplified the results. They simplified their requirement, and they deliver several solutions in a shorter span of time, and they integrated this API-based microservices. So API-based microservices is one of the key requirements for open banking system. So this NPCI-based banking system, which we have in India, so they target on UPI-based system. In UPI, NPCI will partner with a particular application or particular banking. Only that particular sector, particular partner can access the customer's information through API calls. But this open banking with the API, you can contact get the customer information through the fintech environment. So with that, the fintech environment using the API protocol, they can get complete information about the customer and banking transaction. So it's a new evolution of banking domain. So OpenShift helped them to achieve a highly stable and resilient environment, and they were launching applications in a very short span of time. So initially it was taking multiple weeks, and they delivered it earlier, and they developed this WhatsApp-based banking based on this open API, and it has been delivered in 3 days. When it is, if we comparatively, if we talk about, it will be taking 6 months in a normal study. So the another case study which I talk about is Maker banking. So they use the Red Hat OpenShift solution for online banking, and again this platform is based on the open banking technology. They use this market for these solutions to bring the solutions to the market in hours. So they mentioned like it's highly impactable, and the impact which it makes is like the development customer solutions team, they develop this application, and they have the possibility to test this with a very short group of people in a customer environment. So it gave them this opportunity to evaluate the real customer feedback in a short span of time and adapt it inside the code. It's one of the highest points in OpenShift environment. So there are a lot of several case studies and banking domains is there. Due to short span of time, it's been started. And in Europe and Middle East and European banking, the open banking and open are being used at their ways.
Thank you, Mr. Satish, for telling us with our guest expertise and sharing your experience. We really enjoyed your presentation and your performance once again. So let me introduce the second industry expert, Mr. Satish Kumar Nirmal. So a solution architect with over a decade of experience in architecting, design and migration, and tech and operation delivery, with exposure to a wide variety of environment and process and regulation spanning multiple industries and geographies. So he has certified into several Red Hat products, including OpenShift, OpenStack, and several. He's also certified AWS architect. So he will be presenting on the following industry-based case study. So OpenShift solving business and enterprise functional needs and demands. So it will be open case study presentation. Over to you, Mr.
Good evening, everyone.
Thank you, Red Hat and Vectra, for giving me this opportunity. Let's start with the first slide. So before getting into like DevOps, like I believe most of you who are in this or like would be into administration, right? And you guys are thinking like how am I going to build like say if you're going to build 1 or 2 servers, you can build it. If there is a need to build 1,000 servers, what is the approach that you would take? And also, you would have noted that the level 1 or level 2 kind of Linux openings, job openings are not there compared to like what was like a decade back. Is that true? So, what is the reason for that? Automation and okay. Let us come up with the automation perspective. So automation is like you're going to use a Terraform provider to build the servers and then you're responsible for the configuration management. So that is one part. Now, what is the need for switching into containerization? So we are good with virtual machines, physical hardware. Then what is the need? Okay, scalability is one thing. Okay. Okay, so how many of you are taking a 71 or 72 calls? Many of you would be taking, right? On a regular basis. So when you're taking the call, what is the business impact and the downtime? So how are we going to overcome that? This makes the life easier. The problem is the downtime. Any application, the main reason is like for everyone in the IT industry is that the application which is catering to the end user to be highly available. So when we are going to containerize the application and everything as a code, what happens is like there is no downtime, and you are going to deploy it as a microservices. Okay, now we are talking about the microservices. Say for example, all the monolithic applications cannot be containerized, right? You'll be having single monolithic applications in a banking or SAP environment. So can this be containerized? No. There are pretty much many reasons behind that. And when you're getting into microservices, there is microservices when we hear like you're getting highly available, all those things. But there is a key challenge. The key challenge with regards to microservices is the networking. When everything is bundled as a single monolithic application, there will not be much of dependency on the networking because everything is communicating internally. Whereas when you're going to split it up as a microservices, there should be communication between the containers. And you are having Kubernetes engine for the orchestration purpose. But if you are into any trouble, it's like DIY, do it yourself. So what is the option still? This is where you are going to switch into a product called Red Hat OpenShift, which gives you out of the box experience in terms of networking. Also, you have the Jenkins tools. So nowadays, what is happening is if you are going to build 1,000 servers or 2,000 servers, all you are going to do is like they will be spread across multiple environments like build, quality, pre-prod, and then production. So all this goes through as the with the pipeline. You're just going to create a pipeline, trigger it, and the pipeline creates the environment for you. And then it is also scalable with public cloud, where you'll be using the auto scaling groups, right? Based upon the demand, it auto scales and you're having the load balancer, everything. So with the help of OpenShift, you can easily use the out-of-box networking features, which is the main reason. Whereas if you're going for things like Kubernetes, you're having networking, but you need to go for Istio, framework, all those. And the time taken for the integration and the troubleshooting, this is where Red Hat OpenShift takes a leap here. And the need, as an architect, what you would do is when you're thinking about the design, you'll be thinking about what is the need for the business, how the business downtime can be reduced, and what are the components that needs to be taken into the consideration. What is my approach for reducing that? So based upon this, you'll be signing the service level agreement with the customer. And everything is dependent on the design that you make and the product which you are selecting during the design phase. And now we are going to see about some of the use cases. So here, the problem here is like, every application will require a complicated installation, and every time you need to get it deployed. One person might deploy it in a different way, the other person might deploy it in a different way. You might be having a standard operating procedure, but still, this might differ. So what is the solution for that? It is about the continuous strategy. Wherever or whoever going to deploy it, it is going to be the same container. Right? So there is not going to be any change in the way that the application gets deployed. Like I mentioned, the need for selecting Red Hat OpenShift versus other platforms like Kubernetes or the fellows like, because it is an enterprise grade, and when you're stuck into an issue, all you're going to do is you're going to just log a ticket, you're going to get the help from Red Hat, and you're saved, right? And also, like, the developers are not completely dependent on the administrators. Once you create the project and you give them the required rights and permissions, they're not dependent on you, and the lesser the administration works for that. So this is a use case for wherein, like, every now and then a new product has to be released, like a blue-green deployments you can do. Hope everyone is aware of, like, blue-green deployments. So, yeah, for any customer, if they're going to add some new features to a product, then like you can take it like a banking or any application. If you're going into a banking, you'll not be, I'm not talking about like a Finacle or Banks 24, that kind of product. What I'm talking about is the interfaces which connects with the primary application. Those are into microservices nowadays, and that requires frequent testing and deployment. Earlier, it used to take many months. You need to release a new feature, because just like that, we cannot be releasing it to production. Whereas now, with the help of the containerization, this has reduced the deployment time as well and the manageability of the containers. Yeah. So when you are going to automatically scale up and scale down based upon the demand, you are going to just mention like, okay, this is the target. Like if this is going to cost 60% or 80%, then I need this many number of replicas of pods. So this is auto scaling, right? And once it is down, then you can get it reduced. And also you can place it, like in terms of placement groups, you'll be placing it. Like this is the node groups in which it should be placed, and affinity, like where it should be placed and where it should not be placed. Now another case study for the Bombay Stock Exchange here. Here, when what happens is like every millisecond counts here when it comes to the trading. Within a a fraction of a second, anything can change. So in this kind of environment, what needs to be done is the speed at which it can expand. Imagine there is a downtime, the stock market crashes, takes to thousands or maybe even lakhs of crores. So the only way or the better approach is to go via the containerization, which has reduced the downtime and the application release time. In older days, how the stock market was working was based upon non-stop. I believe non-stop operating system, someone would have heard, who are in the banking sector. But now everything is changing to containers. What it is. So I'm not just going to read about this thing. This things can be shared with you all. But the fact is that with the enterprise-grade platform like Red Hat OpenShift, there is no need for a separate integration. If you are going for a Kubernetes, what you will be doing is you need to go for Prometheus separately. You need to integrate the Prometheus, Grafana, dashboard, everything separately. Whereas when it comes to OpenShift, you have everything as a single out-of-the-box product, which is easy to use for anyone who needs to manage it. What you'll be looking at is the manageability of a product. Imagine if you need to do the integration by yourself, it's not possible for everyone. Maybe it is possible, but not for a person who is getting into containerization, or everyone is not a developer here. So these out-of-box experience is what gives us the easy manageability, flexibility, and also you have a very rich dashboard experience as well. So primarily when we are using the for the administration purpose, you'll be using the command lines, but for checking the pods and the clusters, what is the health, and the main reason why people are going for containerization is it is self-healing. This self-healing mechanism is not available in traditional way or in any virtualization, even if you're going for a cluster. Still, it is not self-healing. Okay. So these are use cases which you'll be taking into consideration when you're designing an architecture and the need. Whenever you're designing an architecture, you need to give the justification. Like, what is the reason you're going to select this product? When you're having a Kubernetes or any other product which is a open source, for which customer need not pay, right? You need to be able to answer. So this will be an architectural decision that you make to choose this product. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I have two Satish Babu and Satish Muniratnam. Thank you very much. May I ask Amal Mathai and Satish, both of you, to join us? We have a Q&A session now. And people who are online, I think you can announce that. Those who are online, you can definitely ask questions of those listening. And we'll pass the mic to, you can share the questions you are asking to either Satish M or Satish B, or it is Amal Mathai. Well, please come. The house is open. We have shorter time. I take 4 or 5 questions, not much. Present? Mike. You have to mention the name. Whom you are asking this question?
Hi, welcome. Very good evening. Okay, so it was a nice presentation. Okay, so I'm Ravindran. I work for Kindred. Okay, I give Srinova. So I take care of as a service CAS options for a leading healthcare provider in US. So we manage 25 clusters. Okay, so I have 30 studies. and 20 support engineers and 2 architects. Okay. So we pretty much we use Play. Okay, we have 17 Play installations. Okay, for the image repository for each environments. Okay, and we have hybrid cloud on-prem, AWS as well as an IBM cloud. Okay, so we have around 25 clusters, including 5 dedicated clusters for cloud pack automation and that is cloud pack for data. Okay, I believe you know about IBM offerings, right? So we are one company, right? So one question with respect to this security module you mentioned, right? Okay, so apart from this ACM, we use Prisma Cloud, okay, for vulnerability scanning, okay, for image scanning. So I never heard about this ACS. So could you please give some more light on this?
You guys can hear me well? Yeah. So first of all, I'm very impressed with your cluster and the setup. So many clusters, so many people managing that. It's absolutely this kind of setup where the vulnerability scanning or the security scanning will actually make a lot of impact. Now, as far as ACS goes, as I said, ACS is a compliance and security management mechanism, which is right now available from Red Hat in the form of Red Hat OpenShift Platform Plus. ACS has not been a Red Hat offering until a while ago, until we have acquired StackRox. StackRox was the company developing working on. Now, if you want to know more in detail, there are a couple of things which I could do. One is that I could send you over some videos and some demonstration. Oh yeah. By the way, I mean he introduced himself as Kintel, so I consider IBM as my big brother, and then Kintel is a spin-off, so we are my cousin brothers. So, so what we could do, I'm sure you may have access to Red Hat's product demonstration system. I can actually give you the catalog where you could try the ACS. That is one of the ways. Maybe right now, my hands are tied. I don't have an environment set up and I don't have a demo available. But I'm very happy and glad that you're interested in knowing this, and then I can get that shared with you. The test environment and any videos and other additional materials. But the point is that security, as I said, and I'll repeat this again, is not an afterthought. It has to be integrated right from the beginning of you design your application, so that you don't get into very embarrassing situations later. You realize that your application is not secure enough. So partly, I think I answered your question, but do you want me to take it to? Do you expect something else from me?
I do have one more question. There is container communication. So we use Illuminio. So Illuminio product, okay, for security, for blocking the communication using tags. Okay. So the ACS module will help in doing that as well, or?
Well, yeah. So ACS is more of, it's not just about securing and also for vulnerability check. It can also help in the compliance matters as well. So if you want to have some policies included in terms of communication, in terms of how clusters, how containers or apps has to be existing, yeah, we can manage that as well. But I'm not aware of the other solution which you just mentioned. I haven't, yeah, Illuminio, I'm not exposed to that. So maybe I may not be at this point do a comparison between that and will the features of what you get satisfied with Illuminio will be taken care of by ACS. But I think that's an assignment.
They're just testing POC. The good product because we tested it, right? But that has the offering, right? They part of ACS, then probably we may test it as well.
Good. So since I now have a form of a prospective customer of ACS, I will definitely try and get back to you. No problem. Pleasure.
Yeah, before you are going to the second question, as a business head, my duty to also tell you that there is a very exciting special offer today. I think you can open the browser, you will know. I have given a feedback form to you. Okay, and exclusive offer for today only. Then we have another exclusive offer. Those who are looking at very serious architect path in OpenShift. Both the thing is there in the feedback form. Please have a look at it closely. And I have Siddharth and Prem outside. You have any questions to them? You can clarify that during your dinner time. Yeah, we will go to the next question.
Hey, I'm Ravish. Thanks for the session. I just want to ask you that related to vulnerability. So now the management is focusing and paying more for vulnerabilities. Do we have any any in vulnerability management? Do we have any automated process in Kubernetes to apply the fixes? We have multiple types of vulnerabilities, right? Virus, high, medium, low. So do we have any automated way to apply the fixes?
Yeah, so I find my second prospective ACS customer here now. So this is what exactly we are achieving by using. So I was talking about, can we think of something like, the product Red Hat Satellite? Yeah, so Red Hat Satellite's purpose was mostly to manage your data center, have a single window view of how your machines are looking and performing, but also at the same time, if there were any published vulnerability exploits information, it would actually have gone and patched those machines. So now patching those machines, you try to replace that with, instead of machines in the target environment, it's your containers or your microservice-based applications. We have two options to deal with it. One is you just get reported in the dashboard, and later you manually fix it, or you also have an automated way of fixing those CVEs on your deployed applications. So that solves your problem there. Yeah. Problems. Any more prospective customers for me?
Good evening. My name is Mohammed. Yes. Actually, before finishing your last slide, you showed on post running virtual machines on the OpenShift Container Platform. Actually, what my thinking is, we have to overcome from the performance issue from the virtual machines to container platform. So, what is the reason running the virtual machines under the container platform, and what is the need for that? Why OpenShift Container Platform implementing this idea? So, I just want to know that.
If I answer that question in a very plain and simple statement, this is how it goes. Virtualization is not going to go anywhere soon. It has to stay. And I believe that many of us sitting in this room would still be using and running a lot of workloads on virtualization, especially when you come from a telco side of things. Your NFV and all that stuff, you may still depend on virtualization. So the answer is that virtualization is still a valid use case, and we still need virtualization to be running. Not time yet to kill it. Yeah, containers are not going to solve all your problems in life. Containers have got as Satish was mentioning, not all use cases are containerizable. There are so many things which still needs the full-fledged, old-fashioned operating system. And that's where virtualization comes into picture, which is still a valid use case and a solution. Now coming to why under OpenShift? One, it's much easy to use single window management of virtual machines alongside containers. So OpenShift's virtualization management still is a good proposition for our customers, because our customers have got a hybrid environment where they have a lot of workload running as containers, but at the same time they would like to have the virtual machines also managed, not using a different solution. I'm ready to admit that not even using solutions from Red Hat itself called Red Hat Virtualization, but we have an OpenShift based environment where you can manage your containers. with the same ease and flexibility and user friendliness, we could manage your virtual machines as well. So that's the thoughts behind it, and that's why we have this feature right now. And I'm glad that virtualization is not getting killed. I love virtualization. And I'm sure many of you would too.
Yeah, one last point. Actually, if we run the, just for the doubt analysis, we are running the virtual machine in the OpenShift Container Platform, how will be the performance difference compared to the proprietary, like a popular visualization, providers like VMware, even our Red Hat Enterprise Virtualization, maybe other providers. Compared to that, what will be the performance improvement? Or is just an add-on for our OpenShift customers to manage the virtualization?
Right. So I don't have a benchmark data right at the tip of my tongue to give you that offhand. But this is what we should be looking at it, right? Essentially, the virtual machines are also managed by a Kubernetes native operator. So we definitely are going to make a lot of benefit and leverage that lightweightedness which comes in the way Kubernetes manages things. Because you don't need a full-fledged hypervisor layer there in a conventional Red Hat virtualization or a VMware ESX kind of a thing. So I'm very confident that there will be much more performance advantage when we are using it this way. But sad to say, or I would like to say sorry that I don't have a benchmarking performance number that you can compare between a traditional hypervisor versus a Kubernetes-based version. But trust me, there's going to be a lot of improvement.
Thanks. Thank you.
No problem.
I'm coming back to you. Yeah, I know. There is an online question. I observed that you asked this question to. Yeah.
All questions are for me. Why? What did I do wrong?
One question from Mohammed Ansari. So he's just asking what's the best combination for RHC? He's just starting up to explore on the expertise certifications. So what are the best combinations that you can get on RHC that actually work?
So first of all, Ansari, thank you for asking that question online. To be very honest, I did not think this hybrid way of doing things would have gone this smoothly. But I hear people say, attending online, that this session is still going well. So thanks to the team for having this hybrid. I was very skeptical when Mr. Reddy came to me and said that this is going hybrid. I'm not a great fan of hybrid. So thanks again, Ansari, for asking that question. Coming back to your question, which is very relevant to the presentation I made. My humble attempt today was to help provide options to you on the OpenShift front, become a Red Hat certified architect. In fact, I should have made this statement just before the time to start, but since I was running out of time, I didn't make that conversation with the audience. So this is what it is, right? If you are a Red Hat certified engineer, and if you take 5 certifications, you become an architect. There is no feeling better than being an architect. Now, coming to your question, I'm sorry to make it very clear, you don't have to necessarily take certifications from only one technology track to be an architect. It can be any combination of 5 specialist certifications beyond RHCE. So my response is that you have to be an RHCE first, Red Hat certified engineer. And after that, any 5 certifications can make you an architect. And after 5, any additional specializations will give you a Red Hat certified architect level 1, level 2, level 3. I was a level 7 at one point in time. Old days. Thank you for reminding me again. But it pricks me that now I'm not an architect anymore. So my suggestion to you is that, one, if you're focusing on OpenShift, and if you think that you have a lot of future which you find in your work profile on OpenShift, I would still recommend stick to the OpenShift track. It makes a lot of sense for you, not just for you, but for your organization or your employer as well, or the project on which you're working on. But let's assume that you do not have an OpenShift virtualization. You do not have a ACM advanced cluster management use case. However, you would like to get certified on an advanced Ansible program, if that makes sense. That can also make you an architect, but at the same time, it's like, 2 times the effect, right? You know everything which you need to know in OpenShift, but have a valid Ansible skilling scenario, and you're getting certified, you are an architect, but at the same time, you're an OpenShift expert and also that was a long-winded answer. But then the thing is that you choose the technology preferences of your organization or your prospective organization. Sorry, I'm not asking for a job search here, but then I'm just telling you this, that whatever you find worth it, find those modules, make a track for yourself. Any 5 certifications, you are an architect, and anything beyond, you are multi-level architects, level 1, level 2, level 3. That's how you go. Thanks so much for that question.
And I'll add here for everything on the advantage.
Sorry?
I'll add here for everything on the advantage.
Yeah. Well, as long as my biryani for this evening is sponsored by Advantage Pro, people should enroll into Advantage. Yeah, next one.
We have one more question here, then we have online question one. After that, we will don't be present tomorrow is Saturday. I know that we have hold you more than 1 hour in the early stage, but we have a very exciting quiz again on the OpenShift contents, and we have very beautiful goodies for that.
So my question to Satish.
It's Satish, right now.
AWS architect.
Yeah.
Since we have, I'm from Capgemini. My name is Giri. Since we have our different workloads on AWS as well, even OpenShift we are already. Okay, my question is here: how flexible we can move that container platform across these platforms? Move into OpenShift. As you stated, it is a hybrid platform, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. How flexible we can move from different clouds to OpenShift and OpenShift to different clouds?
So, say for example, if you are going on a Kubernetes, you will be having the master plane to be on AWS. Or if you are going for Azure, Azure is managing your Kubernetes master plane, and you are just going to manage the webtenants. Whereas when it comes to Red Hat OpenShift, it would be Red Hat OpenShift on AWS and Red Hat OpenShift on Azure. You have it for multiple platforms already available. So the manageability and the movement of containerization is much easier than migrating from Kubernetes to one, comparatively.
So it is very flexible to move from on-prem as well.
Yes, definitely. In on-prem also, you are going to have, if you are going to have the same Red Hat OpenShift, then it makes your life much easier. The migrations.
I have online question. Yeah, your answer.
Giri, I have one quick response. I'm not making a sale here, but just hear me out. We do have, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, we do have managed OpenShift service on Azure, AWS, and GCP, and even IBM Cloud. And it makes your life very easy if you have your containers running on-prem, and then move them onto this managed OpenShift. Okay.
Can you repeat that question? Converted cloud that we can save carbon footprint.
Yeah, carbon footprint not here but somewhere else because it's running in a different cloud. This is something which you could evaluate, and we have managed OpenShift service available across different clouds, and the benefit is that you have a support which is a combined effort from AWS and Red Hat SRE. It's not that you will be running pillar to post in case you have a problem. I thought I'd just add that.
Thank you.
So this question is directed to Malik. Okay. So it's a question from a professor from IIT, Dr. Ranjit.
So he's asking, so how do you advise the young engineers security perspective?
Thank you, Dr. Ranjit, for that question. Kids are smart these days. We don't have to tell them what to do. I'm just out of a conversation with a bunch of universities, and I realize, I am 3 generations behind them, even though I don't look very old. In terms of technology, this is what we find in the campuses today. So my gut feeling is that you don't really have to suggest that. But in case, if you want to give them a guidance on, if your kids are interested in application development, I think there are a lot of things which they need to pick up when they build an application. Conventionally, what we find is that in our university labs, when we develop an application, we focus maybe something like a Java EE, and then we build our applications, or maybe the modern day Spring Boot based applications and stuff like that. But security has to be a key thought which has to be inculcated into the minds of developers. And I know that these kids start developing code when they are in university itself. So my suggestion is that I don't have a specific course or a track which I would like to recommend, but the security aspects which gets embedded into, especially the microservices-based app development, your kids should have exposure to that. Now, I'm not an expert in that front. Let me be very honest. But as long as a microservice-based application is deployed on the cloud, we definitely will have to take care of a lot of vulnerability, and that is where something like ACS and other concepts. But for me, for a university grad, I think it's more of that thought of security being imbibed as part of the code, and that is where the discipline starts. If you ask me any courses to work on, I don't have it. Since this OpenShift related conversation, I think I don't have anything else other than the ACS, but that may be too early for a college kid to get into. Yeah, I know this is not right exactly the answer, but that's just my take on it, my thoughts on it.
Yeah. Well, it's available. So you can ask one-to-one questions because you are running sort of time. And now time I request Amal Mathai to honor both the speaker of the day. So now time to quiz. Okay, we are going for the quiz. The quiz is online and I'm going to show you the Manti. Okay, it's on Manti. So first fingers fast. Please on your mobile and enter the code. Okay, and this will be very simple. Okay, we have 15 questions to go with what I call 7 minutes max. And I have goodies for the 10 winners. We will ask Mr. Ramesh to share the goodies. So please start. And online people also share the code. Already you have shared the code. Online people, you can see the code. Okay, it is 99178402. I repeat, 99178402. Okay? And please don't use nickname, please use your name, then it is difficult for us to get the gift. And don't use nickname, please use your name. Even both the parties can participate. And not Amal. That's unfair, I know. Okay. Yeah. menti.com. menti.com. And the code is, it will, once you enter it as the code, it is 99178402. 99178402. This is I'm repeating for the people who are online. As I told you, this is for Amar Manda is this one. It is happening in 3 places live. It is on Facebook, it is on YouTube, and it is on Bluetooth. And so, I mean, all of you are all visible there. I mean, online. Yeah. Okay. So next, I will count 10, then we will close. 1. Those who are not registered till now, please get it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we are going to start. First question. Faster finger fast, you are all familiar because this is generally used in the corporate today. I think this question should not be asked to the people who are in the architect level. Abdul, you are asking a question that is so simple. Maybe like when you ask a first standard question which half of the people have forgotten. That's the way. Oh, sorry, the morning also we had a quiz, they run that morning system quiz. I'm sorry. Don't, yeah, that's what I was thinking. How come this question has come here? I was shocked. This is general when you ask a stupid question like this, so the people get angry. I don't know what angry with an architect. The question start. The first question, sorry, ignore the first question that we have done the testing. Actual question is starting from here. Let's start the question. Oh, you will join again. Oh, I don't know why today everything is getting here. Can you please number it again? 56578243. 56578243. Morning my driver disappeared. Evening meeting disappearing. Okay? And 56578243. Online people you have to read over again. And you have to do login again, I think, yes. Then when you start again, I count. I will count 10, I count 5 this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's start. Good to go. Fastest finger first. Let's see. Whether online people are winning or offline people are using. And in people in persons, persons and present, who is winning? Let's see that. Ooh. Yeah. Let's see the winners. Yeah. I don't know how many are present here, these names. Can you raise the hand? What are present? Oh, can we have some people on online winning? Good. Okay. Super. Super. Yeah. Next question, please. In the meantime, I'll request Mr. Ramesh and Gio Joseph to be here. No, not after this quiz. Yeah. Next. This is all Satish Muninathan covered. I think you should use this technology for the next level of recruitment. So you can tell them instead of 10, first 100 I'll select and use the Don't ask your friend for the help because it's not going to help. And don't Google online people. Next. Ask them. Everybody is hungry. Otherwise they will throw me out. Yeah, well, you are certified, so you will know the answer. When you have more knowledge, you tend to make more mistakes. I think this Satish Babu is the presenter, but don't think that he is aware of the question. The question is not aware, okay? Take the last. Okay. Yeah, next. Lot of change happening, huh? Lot of things happening. I can see the change. I can see Balaji now going to second. Right? Yeah. Next. Yeah. Let's see if the speaker is winning. Okay, or the participant. Yeah. The majority of the student is the right answer. Okay, let's see what is happening. Balaji is still okay, no problem. Good try, next time. Faster finger is not the right answer, is fast is the answer. Right answer is not only the good. Next. कौन बनेगा करोड़पति? Yeah. Yeah. Next. ETCD or ABCD? I just want to check whether Abdul has made a mistake or not. What about the Balaji? Oh, yes. Oh, presenter also from the third position. Okay, good. Nice. In the meantime, I want RSCA, Balaji G, Hitesh Chandra, Mohammed Shivapriya, Upulandi, and I pronounce it maybe wrong. It's called Unuspuma. Okay, just be ready because we will be calling you on the rest. I don't know when Abdullah joined Red Hat. He's selling Red Hat products. He's selling Armature product. Oh, good. Excellent. Balaji ji, faster. Huh? What the question can still be from? If I have 100% not right answer, then I'm going to kill Abdul here. Abdul, you mean? Next. I hope online people are also able to read the question properly and answering it. Wow. The bottom part of the chart is a lot of changes happening, not in the top. Alaji G is going down. And go immediately. Out the name. Red Hat OpenShift. We are all from enterprise, so definitely you have to give it the best answer. Good. Last 5 to go. Try your luck and chance. The winners will be receiving the gift from Mr. Ramesh Padmanabhan, and you can definitely put this in your LinkedIn profile. In the morning we had a quiz at the college and the score was about 20,000. Code is not going up. I don't know what Abdul want his student to answer all the questions or what. But Giri sir, only that. What change is happening? But that means you have to be more attentive in the class. What Abdul? Difficult question. Let's see who is the right person who has understood the product nicely. Last three questions to go. Online people, you also can be faster finger fast. Last two questions to go. Next question. Well, last question. Yes. And the winner is oh, very nice. Abdul, great. As a for your information, Abdul is the top three trainer in the country last two quarters. No? Babu team, the top winner. Around the 10, I request Mr. Ramesh Padmanabhan and Amal, you can escape. Only my dear Geo, you just my manager here, my boss. Can somebody read it out one by one? Kadir?
So Bahulaji, please come to the stage. Third, Mr. Mohammed Waidullah.
Rahmat Ubaidullah, Satish Babu,
Good, Mr. Satish Babu. Mr. Maharaja. Mr. Ravindran. Balaji. Hey, Mr. Balaji G. Arunagiri Muttaya. Mr. Satish Kumar Muniratna.
Yeah, I request three of you to speak. Can you just switch off this? Because now we are honoring this architect who have come with us, and it's a tradition for us. Anytime we do a live presentation, we honor those architect students from Advantage Group. So, taking the name of people, I just call one by one. Please come to the desk and take the certificate and the goodies from Ramesh and the team.
Mr. Balaji G. Please come forward.